Mike Owens with Inside Fighting here, joined today by Jack Tang Shaw, who returns to action UFC Edmonton. Jack, always a pleasure, my man. How are things at you today?
Yes, Mike. Good to chat with you again. And yeah, all good this end. Feeling good and ready to go.
How are your emotions ahead of your return? And also, how long have you known about this fight?
Yeah, I mean, mentally, physically, feeling really good. It's the first time for me, kind of taking a short notice fight.
Mm.
At relatively short notice. I kind of had a date in mind, but I had the opponent locked in. I think it was about 3 weeks out. But yeah, feeling good, feeling ready to go. We known about it probably the rumble started rumbling a little bit about six or 5 weeks ago. Sorry, 6 or 5 weeks out from the fight. We offered to step in the fight. I can't think of the guy's name. Hyder Emil. I think he's gonna fight Nathaniel Wood. I was looking to fight anyway. I wanted to fight on the Abu Dhabi card, but it was full. Chucked my name in the hat for whatever reason. I didn't come off, so we thought it was kind of going to be later on in the month, maybe even December. And then they came to us with Zalal and like, did you still want to fight on the Edmonton card? And we was like, yeah. I think that was about 3.5 weeks ago. So yeah, I mean, we kind of been aiming for around about this time. So it's not like I'm jumping off the set short notice, but obviously in terms of like opponent and setting the date in stone, it's the first time I've took something on less than probably 6 weeks notice.
So it's not like a short notice fight, like on a couple of days or a week, the way we often see it, but it's
No,
not a
no, no.
full notice camp. So what's the process of getting
Yeah.
you ready there? Because you don't have all the time that you'd normally have.
Well, to be honest, I knew I wanted to fight again for the end of the year, especially after what happened in May. And so I kind of put myself, not like a fight camp per se, because I'm always in the gym, but I kind of upped my training a little bit towards, when was it? Towards the end of August, probably. And I thought, let's start getting myself in sort of shape where I can take a fight just in case something pops up. And so it hasn't been, it's not like I've had, like I said, it's not like I've had to jump off the settee and get the weight down and quickly get the sparring in. Obviously, I haven't had a massive amount of time to prepare stylistically, I suppose, for the opponent. But he's obviously he's got the same issue with me. It's not like we've had 8, 12 weeks to think about each other and bring in sparring partners and stuff. And to be honest, it reminds me a little bit of the old days back in Cage Warriors where they would match me up 2 or 3 weeks out. They'd tell me a date, but then not give me an opponent until 2 or 3 weeks out, and I would never have time to game plan per se. So, but yeah, I've kind of I always keep myself in half decent, nick in terms of cardio and stuff like that. Anyway, so it's not like I'm going in nail prepared. You know what I mean?
100%.
We'll be back to the video in just a second, but first, it's the NFL season. We're right in the thick of things, and Inside Fighting has partnered up with DraftKings, an official partner of the NFL, and we've got an amazing offer for you right now, where if you are a new DraftKings customer, you can go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly just by using our promo code Inside Fighting.
What do you make of Youssef as your next opponent, and where do you look in this matchup? Where do you look at the areas for you to have success?
He's a very, very good fighter. Comes from a really good gym, Factory X. Their name kind of speaks for itself. Obviously, it's funny because out in Brazil, we kind of got quite partly with Jonathan Martinez and all them, because we was in the same workout rooms all week, and obviously I'm fighting one of his teammates. But that's the name of the game. But yeah, comes from a great gym. Obviously, his first stint in the UFC probably didn't go the way he wanted to, but he's looked really good since being back in the UFC. A real tricky operator on the feet, I suppose. He's a good mover, got good movement, good on the back foot. Was got those sneaky submissions and stuff as well. But I feel like stylistically I match up pretty well with him in terms of how I strike and how I like to implement my sort of style on the feet, and obviously the wrestling and grappling as well. I always say that I favour myself against most people in terms of the wrestling and grappling, regardless of who they are and what they've done.
I always think it's so interesting when you look at somebody in the second run in the UFC and kind of seeing the improvements, or in some areas maybe not the improvements. They kind of haven't changed so much, but there is definitely a change between Yusuf's first run in the UFC to his last couple of fights. How much improvement have you seen from his initial run to now this second go?
Yeah, I've seen obviously there's been a lot of improvements, but also I think, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I think the caliber of opponents he's coming against in his last two fights compared to his first five or six, however many he's had, he's gone from fighting guys like Topuria to fighting guys that are maybe not so well known. So he's obviously made improvements, but I kind of think it's difficult to buy into it so much because we don't know how he would match up maybe against the original guys. But obviously he was a young guy when he first got in the UFC. He was relatively small for the weight class. You can see now he's filled out, and he does look, to be honest, like he's improved his all round game. He looks like his wrestling and his grappling have really come on as well. He's always been a good striker. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
I want to bring you back to the last fight back in May. Just first and foremost, how was everything in terms of the shin and the leg?
Yeah, Shin's all good. To be honest, it took a little bit of time to heal just because of where the cut was. The blood supply to the shin, and this is the doctor's words, the blood supply to the shin isn't the best. So cuts and stuff like that take a little bit longer to heal. Same with the scar tissue. I think I've got a little bit of a lump on my shin now that they told me I'll probably have for the rest of my life. But no pain. I'm sparring full on, and I've been sparring full on for the last couple of months. No issues kicking, no issues checking, grappling, wrestling, all good. Just a couple of stitches and a little bit of scar tissue to take with me, but nothing major.
I have to say this, but how much do you think your opponent's game plan will be to target that leg?
Yeah, I think obviously he's gonna watch my last fight and look to obviously work the leg over. He done it against Billy Q. He worked his leg over really well. But I think it'll be a different style of matchup. He likes to come on the back foot. Zalal, when I fought Brito, he was kind of all come forward. And to be honest, Brito shocked me a little bit in terms of how leg attack heavy he was. It wasn't something I went in and I didn't expect him to try and smash the leg as much as he did. But obviously, I'll be looking to capitalise on that this time. If he does come out and attack heavy on the leg, got a couple of different options we can work with. And yeah, but I'm not concerned. But obviously, I'd be a fool to think that he's not going to go in there and try and start calf kicking me. But I feel like everyone's trying to calf kick everyone these days.
That's
so
the point, yeah.
It's one of them when you gotta be ready for it. I think no matter who you are.
I feel like the calf kick's become the new jab in MMA. I feel like that's like that. Whereas the jab is the base for most offense. I feel like that's now everybody. If you don't have a good calf kick, you don't have anything in this game.
Yeah, 100%. If you don't check a calf, I know people give me a lot of shit after the last fight saying I learned to check leg kicks, but if you go watch the fight, the reason the leg split open, so I was checking the leg kick and we was hitting chin on chin. It wasn't like I was just letting him smash my calf in and that was that. I was checking the kick and we just got lucky and picked up a cut. But yeah, you've got to be well versed now in attacking the calf and obviously defending the calf kick as well, because it's such a big tool and it's such a devastating tool as well, to be honest. It's 2 free kicks can, you catch 2 or 3 of them in the first minute of the fight and it can really change the game. And also if you can defend it, then if someone have based their entire game plan around landing a calf kick, if you can defend it, then obviously, it flips on his head that way as well.
How do you reflect on the last fight as a whole, mate? I mean, I know in the immediate aftermath there was a lot of kind of disappointment. I can remember your dad's, I think it was a tweet or something like that, this big long explanation about what went on in the actual with the actual doctor. But how do you actually reflect on the Brito fight as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them. I had a long time out of the cage coming back. Without a doubt, it wasn't my best performance. But obviously I did feel like I was still in the fight. The game plan going in was to let him kind of blow his load and kind of drag him into deep waters and try and go to work end of the second into the third. Yeah, he did do a good job of attacking the leg, but I could feel him getting tired because what we noticed in the build-up is Brito's default when he starts getting tired is to wrestle. And I know my defensive wrestling is as good as anyone's, and I could feel him on the cage trying to wrestle because he was getting tired. I could feel the more he was pushing for that takedown, the less success he was having. I could feel him starting to slow and slow. So it would have been nice to pull him into the third. But I've never sort of stood there and said, "Oh, I was winning the fight and they robbed me of a win," because it's, I'm aware I was down on the cards. But the game plan was to drag him deep and look to take him out later on. But I mean, it's one of them. I try not to dwell on it too much now. I got something coming up. It was a tough couple of months mentally, to be honest with you. You know, it was when I lost to Ricky, it was kind of it was like definitive. You know what I mean? I got put away, and it was like a little bit easier to accept, I think. And with the Brito fight, it kind of felt as if it was snatched from me a little bit, and then I would get over it a little bit, and then someone would bring it back up, and my mind would start doing overtime. And yeah, it's a bit of a shit scenario to be in, but you got to live and learn and move on from it. Never keep dwelling on the past, and you'll never look onto the future. And that's what I've tried to do in the last few months. I think I've sort of pulled myself out of that negative mindset on it, and I just kind of look at it now as, you know, it's all part of the journey, all part of the game. Wins, losses, take your licks, you give your licks, and you know, it is what it is. If I keep dwelling on that, then I'll never be any good in any fight going forward. So, you know, onto the future, as they say.
100%, mate. So when you look at this fight, is it a case of just win by any means and kind of get back on the horse after the last fight, or is there something else past the W that you're either looking to show or looking to do in this matchup?
No, it's just a matter of win, you know, and I want to get back to how I used to be, you know, just going in there. Obviously, we've got a game plan, and I've watched him a lot, and I'm very aware of what he does well, and maybe what I think I can exploit. But ultimately, I always fight best when I just go out there and fight my fight. You know, I've had obviously late opponent changes and stuff like that, and I've always fought best when I just go out there and do me. And I've obviously got to be aware of how tricky he is and stuff like that. But I just want to go out there, fight my fight. You know, leave it all in there like I always do, and what will be will be. Obviously, I want to win, as every fighter does. But you know, I just that's it for me. It's more of a internal sort of victory I'm looking for in terms of getting there and put it on the line and leave it all in there. Leave no question. This time is the motto.
100%. Whilst I've got you, I have to ask you about the featherweight title fight coming up next Saturday, because it's probably my most anticipated fight for the rest of the year, and also from our perspective, it's on our time, so we can actually enjoy it without having to stay up till 6 in the morning or watch it on Sunday morning. But Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway, what a fight! How do you see this playing out at UFC 308?
Like, it's such a tough one to call, because you know, how do you watch either of their last fights and pick against them? Do you know what I mean? Topuria's gone in there and wiped out, arguably, well, apart from Islam at the time, the pound-for-pound best active fighter, and probably arguably the best featherweight of all time in terms of his resume and bulk. And then you look at Holloway, and he's just gone up against probably one of the most dangerous guys, or one of the most violent guys, as his label when he gets you, the most violent guy in the sport, and kind of made it look easy. You know what I mean? Dominated him for 5 rounds and then put him away. So it's tough to pick against either of them. I think with Ilia, he's just so explosive and so accurate with his hands. If he lands flush on anyone early on, he'll put him away. But then you factor in, it's kind of like the MMA gods have given us this 50-50 match, because then you've got Max Holloway, who's got a granite chin, only ever been put down once by Gaethje, and that was like a flash knockdown. And then you look at how good Max has got since losing to Volk. It's tough to pick against him as well. I think for me, a big factor will be how tough a time Max has getting back down to the weight. And also, we've never really seen Ilia dragged deep. You know what I mean? I know he went the rounds against Josh Emmett, but he kind of controlled the entire fight, and I don't think anyone's going to control a full 25 minutes against Holloway. So it's one of them, you know, I think it could be a case of my head saying Ilia, my heart saying Max. You know what I mean? And Max is a legend of the sport, and I think we'd all love to see him get it done, but it's a big, big ask.
Here's a question I've got for you. Give me one thing that each fighter has to do in order to have success in this fight. Like, what's one thing that Ilia needs to implement, and one thing that Max needs to implement?
I think Max has got to stay off the cage. I think every time you see Ilia knock someone out, he gets him backed up, and he gets him moving towards his right hand, wherever he does it with his cutting off or with his body shot set up. You fucking fly is doing my head in this car. He always lands that big right hand, and so for Max, I think it's kind of he's the taller guy, and he's the ranger guy, and Ilia does his best on the inside, Max does his best on the outside. So I think Max is number one, got to stay off the cage, and number two, establish the center and use them long arms and them long legs, and get his kicking game going. You know, and he don't make it a straight boxing match. And I think the key for Ilia is the opposite. You know, try and force Max backwards, get into the cage and try and land those big shots, and maybe mix in some wrestling as well. Like, people forget of Ilia, he's an elite level black belt and an elite level wrestler as well. So for me, when you're fighting a guy who's as good as all the way on the feet, I know he's got a power advantage and he's got a knockout power, and he's got that high level boxing, but mix it up a little bit, get him worried about the takedown, and then I think the hands will probably come and land a bit easier for him as well.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Well, turn the conversation back to yourself for this last question. You can be as brief or as detailed as you like, but give me a walkthrough of the perfect fight day as you envisage it on the 2nd of November. So in a perfect world as you imagine it, what happens when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night?
Perfect world. Get up, fight day, no nerves. Fill the system, get the arena to get in the cage, and in a perfect world, I finish him in the first minute of the first round. But it doesn't always go that way. I'd love to. Perfect world, I just go out and establish my game early on. Get him thinking a little bit more than I'm thinking, and hopefully, put him away would be nice. I'd love to try and do that every fight, but he's a tough guy, he's a durable guy, and he's got a good engine as well. He's not a guy where you can think, drag him deep and you'll have the better of him. He's got a good engine, and to get him tired, you've got to stick it on him. And if you don't do that in the right way, then you're never going to get him tired. So I know I'm up against, but ideal world, first round finish would be nice.
I love it, mate. Well, look, always good seeing you back in action, and always better to catch up. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck for the next fight.
Top man, mate. Thank you, buddy.